Sunday morning, Easter morning. All's calm. Of course the anchor held. We had no wind or anything like that in here. Those are the last guys who anchored here, but we're going to make it out.
Here's a little background on our adventure. This spring, the spring of 2024, we trailered our 1971 HOBO houseboat to Florida, to Sanford, Florida, and we set out on our 21-day adventure. I hope you will enjoy this video, and if you would, please subscribe and see the rest of the adventure and other content that is on the HOBO channel. Thanks a lot. Good day, I'm the Old Hobo. Welcome to the channel. We're on the Erie HOBO right now. If you need some background, check out previous episodes. This is episode 6, covering days 11 and 12 of our incredible 21-day expedition travels on the St. Johns River and its tributaries in Florida. From the previous episode, this is our anchorage in Middleburg, and to get some of the background, you'll have to see the previous episode. Right now, believe it or not, we're going to church. It's Easter Sunday.
Coast. Oh, it's still 3 feet. Somewhere here it gets shallow.
Okay.
We were anchored on the north branch of the Black Creek, which leads to Middleburg. That's the town dock. That there to the left goes to the St. Johns River. We're taking the right turn here onto the south branch of the Black Creek, and just incredible there, the reflections and so on. We're scouting out the place. We'd scouted it out the previous day, but where we could land for church, that's it, I think, straight ahead. There we are. We're nosed up on some concrete protection, shore protection, and we got to church. It was right next to the church property. And then we're heading back. And you notice here there's a bridge in the background. There's bamboo shoots. And this was something we're not used to at home in Ontario. Yeah, they're bamboo. Hey, you could build a structure from this stuff. There's quite a bit of it. There's the boat hidden away there. You see the cement ties. I think there's cement.
When we left, the center chine or keel was just up on the cement. There are a couple cement railway ties. I call cement ties there. It's drifted back out. We got a couple ropes on it. There's been no current, and I don't think anybody's wake has disturbed this, so this worked out fairly well. So we're going to take our shoes off and climb aboard and get back on our way up towards Julington Cove.
Before we got back on the boat, we had a handful of raspberries, probably left over from some home that used to be there. We're back on the creek. Typical scene here on the creek. This part has a lot of nice homes, boats, and so on activity. It's quiet today, though. We saw a few fishermen out there. Here's the fork where we joined, and we head off to the right there. Some places have sandy beaches where we have seen people the previous day pull up. There's boat. I like to collect pictures of boats gone wild, feral boats of Florida. There's a lot less traffic on the river today compared to yesterday, Saturday. But we still had a little bit of entertainment.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, that's good. Whoa! Now we deal with the wake. Just reading 44 feet.
45, 46.
46 feet, and this is how close we are to shore on this southerly shore of Black Creek. On a northeasterly heading to cross the St. John's from Black Creek to Julington Bay, and the Mandarin Marina is where we're going to look and get some fuel.
We covered the 12 miles or so from Middleburg out to the main St. Johns River, and then we had about an hour to go to go across to the holiday Mandarin. Here it is at the bridge there. It's just before the bridge across Julington Creek. We went in. It was 3 p.m. They had closed early for Sunday. Somebody advised us there that, hey, there's a gas station down the road. So we bought some groceries just right close by, and we went and got gas with our dolly. Headed under the bridge. Lots of clearance for us. I forget how many feet it was. And we went to the south branch, which is actually called Durbin Creek, not Julington Creek. And there are a lot of fairly nice homes. I don't really have some good pictures here for that, but this represents that. We went in far enough that we got past all the homes, and one or two bends past the last home that was visible. We picked our spot and dropped the anchor. Take a look at this picture. It's kind of significant. I'll explain that next.
This is our anchorage for Sunday night. This tree, if you look on Google and look at images for Durbin Creek, I think this tree is one of the two images they have. Also next to it is a tree stand. Somebody did some hunting. We're about the second loop in from habitation where there are any docks and so on. So we had to go a few miles up Durbin Creek, and from where it branches off from Julington Creek. Right here it's quite deep. We've got the anchor set. It's like, well, I know it's probably 24 feet. The back right here is still 24 or so. When you get into there, it's about 3 feet, and those weeds even 2.5. So this is a good spot for tonight. It's Monday morning. We had a very peaceful night here on Durbin Creek. You notice that tree is here. I did earlier video where we were anchored out here, and the anchor was down about 20 feet. I decided at one point, the way it was swinging, I wanted to move the anchor. I pulled it up and it was snagged on something. I lifted about 7 or 8 feet. It was taking about 100 pounds of force on a 25-pound anchor. I finally was able to drop it, lift it, drop it, lift it, and it freed. So I moved the anchor a bit. I hit the same tree or log or whatever's under there again. I said, forget that, I don't want to be permanently snagged. So we move over to shallower water. So we put one anchor out down here in about 6 or 7 feet, and just to keep us from going into the brush. We've got a side anchor off the rear there. It's really not out very far. It's just straight down in about 6 feet of water. So yeah, very peaceful night. We used our flashlight just to look for alligator eyes. Some people who live just down the creek told us, yeah, you might see them if you shine your flashlight, but we haven't seen any eyes in the water, not up this far north, but they're here, they tell us.
I'm not much of one for breakfast, but I love my coffee. Take a look on the channel for my short on YouTube about coffee in the morning on a boat. On the satellite photo, you can see our departure from Durbin Creek on the right with the red arrow, and we head out, join Julington Creek, and then out to the St. Johns River. The red arrow in this view shows our first stop of the day, which is an historical park, Walter Jones Park. We pulled up our anchor to get underway, and I drove the boat over the spot where we'd anchored before, and yeah, there are a lot of branches and things down there, so that's what was hanging up. So we headed out Durbin Creek, and again, some very nice homes and boats, and we got out into the Julington Creek area under the bridge and entered then into Julington Bay and out to the St. John's proper.
So right now we're rounding Mandarin Point. It's a big bulb that sticks out here. This is east. We came out of the Julington Creek, Durbin Creek area there. We came out, we're doing basically a 180-degree turn around the corner. We're going to a local museum, Walter Jones Historical Park. We're going to stop there, take a look. Today's forecast, we were glad it had been forecast like 1.5 foot waves and a moderate wind, I think 5, 6, 7 miles an hour, and that's about what we've got. We're actually on the, the wind's coming from that direction. There's our wind direction indicator, and that's sort of like northwest, and that's like west-northwest for the wave direction. So everything's really good. We're happy for that.
We made a rather roundabout approach to the dock, trying to avoid shallow water and pilings that were marked from ancient wharves that may or may not exist. and there was a kayaker or two we had to avoid as well. We got onto the landing and into the park to explore.
There's the pier. You can go fish, whatever. They have an area we can tie up at, and that's where we're tied up now. There's a boat ramp down here. It's blocked with railway ties, so it's just good to, or cement curbs. It's only good for kayaks and so on. We enter the park here. This is a boardwalk. Once upon a time, this was a boardwalk that stretched across several properties back in the late 1800s, and right now it's a boardwalk. There's a historic home that way. We'll go take a look. There's some history about Webb's Wharf.
Well as the boardwalk, there were buildings to look at. They weren't open on the day we were there, but there were different things that had been brought in from elsewhere. Equipment from an old sugar mill, from a sawmill. Those are both industries of the past, the sugar and the lumber, the cypress and so on. So it was a nice break to have here, but we were getting ready to go back out on the St. John's River and head north. The next pictures you'll see are of the I-295 bridge. We departed the park and headed towards the Henry Buckman Bridge, I-295.
We're on the St. John River proper, and we're heading under the 295 bridge. It's a long bridge just south of Jacksonville. That's amazing. That's a long bridge.
We're heading towards the Ortega River. Up ahead, it cuts in like that. Jacksonville is there. The Naval Air Station is back here. Oops, back there. Somehow I thought this would be a hive of activity with barges and tugboats and everything, but not yet. We saw a couple pleasure boats, that's about it. We skirted the military restricted area around the base, and we're reading about it on the phone. We'll have to read some more. It basically says, yeah, you can transit it if you just go at normal speed, and I'm going to read up on that. And the way back, if we need to, we'll do that. That made us go a little out of our way, a little farther from shore.
We were close enough to Jacksonville to have a good view of the skyline, but we turned west into the Ortega River. Entering the Ortega River involved passing 3 bridges. 2 of them were lift bridges. There was a marina we stopped at for fuel just after the last bridge. Then we headed up northwest in the Cedar River, stopped at a boat ramp there. Then we headed back down south all the way to a marsh at the bottom of the Ortega River there behind Naval Air Station Jackson.
The pilot. Nobody's coming. No, nobody to the left.
The bridge opened quite promptly on demand. I don't know if it's a little different during rush hour, but we had no problems getting through that bridge. The other railway bridge was open, and the other one was one you just passed under. We only saw 2 wrecked boats on the Ortega and Cedar Rivers. We stopped at the Lamb's Yacht Center for fuel. That was no trouble, no problem. Then we got into an area that opened up into a bay where we had a choice of going left down to south on the Ortega River or north on the Cedar River, so we chose to go north.
Came in the Ortega River. We passed 1 lift bridge for vehicle traffic. Then we passed that bridge, which is fixed underneath, and a railway bridge. You can see the Bastille Bridge is open. I think they only man it when their train's coming. Channel 9 is what you use. We just tailgated somebody else, and we gave them a blast of the horn when we're tailgating. Yeah, it's well marked, everything, buoys, markers and channels. This is south. The Ortega River ends at the very end in some swampy land, which is what we like. We're going to anchor tonight. The Naval Air Base is over there, so in effect we'll be behind the Naval Air Base. Heading here, generally sort of to more of a northerly direction, is where we're going to go explore. It's Cedar River, and we're going to go up as far as a boat ramp on, I think it's San Juan Avenue. So that's the story for today. The Cedar River is about 4 foot in the middle. That's it. 3 foot around the sides.
With such a shallow river, it's kind of surprising to see the number of sailboats. They've got keels and larger boats. They've got good drafts, but they get in and out of this, I suppose. They might have trouble during low water periods. We went under the first bridge, lots of clearance. Right after it was this boat center. There are no docks there, they're just sales and repairs. Some condos, and here's a submarine at one of the condos. We stopped at this boat ramp and we went and got ice cream. We didn't need gas, but there was a gas station right there. That's one of the reasons we visited it, just in case. Then we headed back down the river. We did see a few jet skis, and you could rent them, of all places, up on a shallow river with a speed limit. So we headed back down and we went south up the Ortega River.
Okay, starting from the bridge, there are potential anchorage points over here for us. Shallow, we like it, but the wind is coming from this direction. So we could still anchor there and hang back there off our anchor. But it's less than ideal also because we've got homes across here. If we want a little more private, we go ahead. The homes will end and it will be park land on both sides.
We're coming to the end of the homes on the right and up to a little bit of a bay or an indentation.
It's Monday night. We've got this very shallow bay. It gets shallow to 1 foot or so quickly. We're anchored in about 4 feet of water. This is where the houses end. One thing I do when anchoring, I kick up the motor just in case we would go into some shallow or drift or something like that. I don't want to hit an obstruction we can't see. So I raise things. But what I've done before is the next day I've started before with the motor up. It takes me a while to realize. So my little clue is to put this donut floaty thing on the key. But I put this donut floaty on and it reminds me in the morning, put the motor down.
This site had some amazing bird watching opportunities of a sort. Well, we made an end of day 12 with a simple supper and a few games and early to bed. The airplane activity did continue somewhat into the evening and did wake us up the next day. So please check out the next episode, which will be episode 7, and that'll cover days 13 and 14. See you then.